today we're going to be presenting Malaysia Airlines laying off 6,000 employees as the main issue of this management ethics group assignment. So our lecturer is Professor Dr. Abdul Shukur bin Shamsuddin, and we are from Group D. So my group consists of 5 members, which is Sharmila Sivalingam Lihawan, Muhammad Rafiq Ruzaini bin Muhammad Razi, Nurul Fatihah binti Ishak, and myself, Tivia Shalini, anak perempuan S. Sivananda.
Hello everyone, my name is Lihawan and my metric number is 261998, and now I want to start my presentation to my management ethnic group assignment. So, in the group assignment, I want to talking about the executive summary. In the airline industry, ethnic are the important because they are the mechanism that direct individual in making the business choice. Ethnic is a field of the corporate responsibility in which corporate have moral and social responsibility to ethnically do the business. Ethnic decisions are taken every day in corporate world and have the impact on all organizations. In the area of the ethnic use in Malaysian aviation sectors, by means of various applications, even by means of its official statement. In April 2040, MH 370 belongs to the Malaysian Airlines, carrying 2,039 people on the way from the KL to Beijing suddenly disappeared in the unknown condition en route to its destination. The 2,039 passengers on the boat was losing in the crash, along with the aircraft. The MH17 aircraft of the Malaysian Airlines was shooting down by the missile in July of the same year, which operating over the war fighting area in Russia and Eastern Ukraine. The incident killed 2,098 passengers, including the crew on board MH17. The two crashed in the same year as MH370 and MH17, resulting in a 6th consecutive quarterly loss and severe financial difficulties. At the same time, competition have intensified to extract the passengers at a low cost as competition began with more flexible interests such as Malaysia's faster growing discount airline AirAsia. So the overall disaster have driven it to the physical cliff for an airline that using to have a reliable safety record. At the same time, it has also led to some business ethnic dispute and problem of the management for Malaysian Airlines. So next, I will discuss about the case summary. So in the case summary, the Malaysian Airlines have several disagreement about the number of 6,000 workers in 2050. In 2040, Malaysian Airlines was lose 2 aircraft in less than 5 months. That was MH370 and MH17. The incident of the aircraft was killing 5,037 passengers and caused the financial hardship for the airline, which led to the renationalization of the airline. Mullet, the new CEO of the Malaysian Airlines, will launch his plan to rebrand the business to restore its launch reputation began September 1. A reproduction of the current brand is one of the steps to rebrand the business. It was the company's responsibility respond to the concerns about the MH370 and MH17, which was on board and are still missing with 2,039 passengers and crew. The tragedy have had an eccentric effect on the reputation of the company. The organization predicted to collapse, but there was news in the conflict of two tragedies. Fortunately, the corporation have taken over by the state investment fund and continue to escape from the bankrupt. On June 19, 2016, the CEO of the Malaysia Airlines, Mullet, was cut down 6,000 jobs, and to say there was little done by many of the 20,000 people who work for the airline. Practically, after his going in the world and learned that workers live during working hours, which is why he absolutely want to cut down the 6,000 jobs. However, the movement reaction immediately to the decision of the Mullet and say he was outsiders and could not comprehend the working culture of the region. He said employees fall asleep asleep at work is possible because some employees work 24-hour shift and work overtime, which make them feel exhausted at the end of their shift. So this is all my presentation. I will pass my part to my group member, and very thank you.
A very good day. My name is Tibia Shalini Anak Perempuan S. Sivanandam. My matrix number is 265012. Today, I'll be talking about the ethical awareness in this assignment. The issue with Malaysia Airlines is the unethical leadership of the airline business. This is because even before the twin misfortunes of MH370 and MH17, Malaysia Airlines was at a very dangerous point regardless of the past rebuilding plans and billions of dollars in monetary lifesavers from the public authority. The organization hadn't made money since 2008, and in the 3 years to 2013, combined misfortunes added up to $1.3 billion. The operational managing done by the management of Malaysia Airlines is wasteful. We can prove this by looking at Singapore. Singapore Airlines, they managed to cut down a lot on their operational costs. So by utilizing more financial assets, show the operational expense of Malaysia Airlines is higher. Plus, as per Malaysia Airlines SWOT analysis or ethical issues distributed by Satya Silan Karpea from Asia E University, even the past supervisory group had the option to decide and set destinations unmistakably. A bit of the workers didn't know precisely how to actualize the procedures successfully. They can't diminish the consumption by finding less expensive choices, as end will prompt break of agreement. For example, they took Brahim's Airlines contract for food, which was way too expensive, and they didn't consider the cost of the other expenses such as travelling expenses and maintenance expenses. So the issue that Abdul Aziz stated that significant compensations paid to unfamiliar top administration, including the CEO, head working officials and business officials, which added up to 100,000 ringgit for every month, is added an explanation the aircraft was drained. By doing so, they could have cut down on the money paying to the top management in order to stabilize, but they did not do. So this proves that they had unethical leadership in the management. And additionally, the wasteful arranging in estimating an income the board brings about monetary misfortune for 5 successive years, even after the infusion of assets by Khazanah, with an end goal to help the career in the year 2014. For instance, Abdul Aziz considers the acquisition of Airbus 380 airplane as an awful venture, bringing about antagonistic money surge. This is because Khazanah is the only stakeholder, and even when they brought in funds, it was not enough to maintain the stability of the airlines. Malaysia Airlines is having solid rivals in both homegrown and global flight. Malaysia Airlines is more vulnerable while rivaling Air Asia in homegrown causes, since Air Asia frequently offers lower admissions contrasted with Malaysia Airlines. When an airline company or any company in truth does not generate enough revenue to keep the business alive, it will struggle and they will have trouble paying off debts and salaries, and this led to them laying off 6,000 employees in the year 2015. Next, I'm going to talk about the awareness of the shareholders. Malaysia Airlines had one shareholder and it was also their stakeholder, which is Khazanah Nasional Berhad. Khazanah Nasional Berhad rolled out no improvements to its proposed plan to cut down on Malaysia's representative numbers from 20,000 to 14,000. So the abundance asset MD Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar accepts the 14,000 figure would be the right figure to launch the MAS new corporation, which will come into power in May 2015. They had foreseen this issue, as they state, and they rearranged the whole management and also the crew. So they said a reset must be well done this time, or we will wind up siphoning more cash into the career. Azman said the laid-off representatives at that point will be retrained at the Corporate Development Centre and resent outside of MAS, conceivably to fill up in 4,500 new openings in business measure, redistributing BPO fragment by worldwide partnerships and unfamiliar organizations in a joint effort with Khazanah. So in March 2015, Khazanah reported MAS will give business end letters with a quarter of a year's notification to each one of its representatives on June 1st rather than the previous deadline of April 1. So this shows that the stakeholders were aware of the issue that happened, but they could not do anything and they had to cut down on the crew, which led them to laying off 6,000 employees, but the laid off representatives were then given an option to go to Corporate Development Centre and they'll be resent, it seems. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Fatihah binti Ishaq. My matric number is 262693. I will continue present about ethical reasoning. In response to this ethical issue, there are several different views from various stakeholders. Among them is Christoph Mueller. He was appointed as the CEO of outgoing Malaysia Airlines Berhad. The reason he terminated 6,000 employees was because the employees were doing nothing except sleeping when he was going through the hangar. He asserted that his action was the best way to save MAS from technically bankrupt, and he wanted to focus on streamline the firm's operation. Mueller also acknowledged that MAS had experienced inflated and overly expensive supply chain because MAS have to pay 20 to 25% higher than market price to purchase product from supplier companies. We can say that Christoph Mueller has the strongest ethical argument, and every action that he took is for the good of financial position and company image of MAS. However, this ethical issue received a great opposition from National Union of Flight Attendants Malaysia, NUFAM. NUFAM President Ismail Nasruddin stated that Mueller's actions were unlawful. This is because Mueller was an outsider and he does not understand Malaysian work culture. He also asked Mueller to provide him a strong evidence to show that MAS employees were asleep while on duty. Ismail cannot accept MAS decision because some employees have to work overtime and also 24 hours shift. Besides, Alias Aziz is the president of MASAU, Malaysian Aviation System Worker Union. He has to make sure all retrenched MAS workers receive their compensation. Based on MAS formula, employees who serve more than 10 years will receive a final salary of a month and a half months multiplied by the year of service, while employees who serve less than 10 years will receive a final salary of a month multiplied by the year of service. 30% additional will add to disability workers and to one of husband or wife who work in the same company. Lastly is Tan Sri Dato Azman Mokhtar, the Chief Executive Officer for Khazanah Nasional Berhad. He did not oppose Mueller decision for MAS because 14,000 remaining employees will continue with MAS new co. Khazanah Nasional also want to avoid doubling the withdrawal money into mass airlines in the coming years. In fact, the 6,000 employees will join the BPO segment, which is a collaboration between multinational company, foreign company, and Khazanah Nasional itself. So that Khazanah Nasional opined Mueller was on track to restructure the mass airline. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Hello, hi to our beloved lecturers. So my name is Muhammad Rafiq Zani bin Madrazi. My metric number is 262427. So I will continue presentation. For my part is ethical suggestion. What is ethical suggestion? Suggestion is the suggestion and criticism are a good thing if it comes with a good intention to help something or help someone that is broken or someone that has a problem. So 3 ethical suggestions for us to the Malaysia Airlines company. So suggestion actually is a good thing that we have or we need to maybe to repair or to be good more in the future. So next, first our ethical suggestion is about integrity. Integrity begins to be highlighted among us as the quality of honesty and height of moral principle held by an individual. So integrity in the same words is about honest, but actually is a height of honest that should have in the individual's self. So this first suggestion is, I think, necessary. Ethical should be suggestion to the Malaysia Airlines company. So the CEO of the company, Christopher Mueller, stated that the airlines he lead now has a relatively expensive supply chain between another airlines company. This statement he said when he have a press conference with a reporter, and then he said that the company he lead now has a problem about the supply chain, the expensive supply chain between 20% until 25% expensive in the market. So in the press conference also he said about management, maybe the management problem had a corruption in the company. So I think integrity is the ethical suggestion for the top management in the Malaysia Airlines company. So number 2 is about openness attitude. Openness of attitude is one of the important patterns of leadership communication. So openness attitude is something or some of moral value that the leadership to build a leadership or top management should have. This is because openness attitude is another easy word we say about maybe the employee or workers at top bottom management, maybe they can give their opinion to give the good idea for their company. So maybe the leader of the top management in some company, we should have an openness attitude. Maybe they can meeting together to get a point to save the company. So this is openness attitude in the mass airlines. This happened when the AirAsia or another airlines company in the Malaysia also AirAsia company offer their have to Malaysia Airlines, but Malaysia Airlines didn't take the offer from AirAsia. And another case about openness attitude is about another one of the airlines company from Australia also offer their help for mask, but it's their offer mask didn't care and didn't take about the offer chance from another company to help to solve the mask problem. The third attitude and the third ethical that we suggest to mask airlines is about belief. Belief generally means the declaration of the truth of something. The belief attitude is the more important model that should have to anybody. So belief is happen when someone trusts to someone and someone give the responsibility to another one because they believe that someone can lead or can do the job that he taken. Okay, so when we want to when we associate with company Malaysia Airlines, said the workers someday one day the workers get cut off the CEO Christopher Miller that workers are sleeping in the workplace. So the CEO was very angry and he was the CEO of Malaysia Airlines company was laid off their 6,000 employees that year. So another reason why he laid off their company employee because the financing problem. Another reason is about that case. He cut some their workers sleeping at the workplace. So in the logical, why these workers sleeping at the workplace is because the workers should get enough rest to give a good service to customers. Maybe some of the workers also workers at the plane, so maybe they travel more than 24 hours. So the workers should get a good rest to give a good service to customer. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharimla Sivalingam. My metric number is 261763. Today I cover the conclusion part of these studies and this Malaysia airline issue. From the first part, we discussed regarding the laying off 6,000 workers by Malaysia Airlines back in 2015. But the main key concern is unethical business leadership. Give the awareness to us regarding the issue. Furthermore, the effective planning problem further highlight the administration dilemma of Malaysia Airlines. From the second part, we can conclude that Khazanah Nasional Berhad will roll out no improvements to its proposed plan to cut back Malaysia Airlines represented numbers to 14,000 from the current 20,000. Then from the third part, we get to know that CEO of outgoing Malaysia Airlines Berhad strive to conduct transparent negotiation to prevent the existence of corruption issue in Malaysia Airlines transactions. From the last part, which is ethical suggestion towards the issue, we get to know that integrity ethics is proposed for Malaysia Airlines so that members and employees in organization can apply the value of integrity into themselves to strive to work honestly without being deceived by the luxuries of the wrong world. Openness ethic is the second ethical proposal for Malaysia Airlines companies to some extent solve their problems. This was the conclusion that we cover from this assignment, this issue. Okay, all over the ethical lesson we learn from this issue is every management should decide to enhance their inner factor by introducing a rational approach to decision rather than the magical approach. If in any situation, every organization or management have to think analytically to solve their dilemma. They have to show their leadership and all that analytically. I think the acceptable and necessary of the decision before the process of decision making. This is considered the consequences, because we are the one going to face the consequences as a management when we make any decision. The positive tactics, dedicated collaboration, high honesty and high integrity are the most critical things to be incorporated. We get to know this all from the issue that happened in Malaysia Airlines. This was the ethical lesson that we get from the assignment, throughout the assignment and the readings and all that. That's all from us. Thank you very much.